Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Thumbs Up the Photography Show. I have to say, after the past couple of weeks, I'm in full anticipation mode of the excitement that we're going to be fed this week, even though a little bit is from me. So far the lads have come up with some crackers. I do wish they'd stop dancing though, and wearing orange. So welcome to episode 6, let's crack on.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Thumbs Up the Photography Show. The eagle-eyed amongst you might have noticed that I'm not in my beloved Yorkshire. In fact, I'm in southeast Iceland and I'm having an absolutely thoroughly enjoyable time in the land of fire and ice. And why am I here specifically? Well, I'm already filming stuff for Series 3 of the Photography Show. But what about this week? What we've got in store? Well, I know we've got a jam-packed show. I know we've got some great stuff for you. In fact, let's head over to the voice from above and find out what's coming up. Over to you, Louise.
Well, darling, that was an invigorating start if ever I saw one. Martin explores Whitby and is meeting some interesting characters. Steve gives a windmill guide. I'll be joining the Dots across the South Downs. Dave's rather happy with the conditions in the woodland. And we have a classic location north of the border. And of course, a red-hot group meet in North Wales. So on with the show and over to Martin.
So back in Series 1, we came to Whitby and I tried my first ever go at street photography. And since then, I must say I've thoroughly enjoyed street photography. I've been all over the country. I've been to Oxford, Nottingham, London, did a 24-hour in London actually, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So it's great to come back where I first started having a go at street photography. So, come along with us, and we'll have a go at some more street. So not only is it a Thumbs Up Photography meetup weekend, what we didn't realise when we booked this was it's actually the Krampus run weekend in Whitby. And you can see just behind me, you've got some people in some really elaborate costumes. So yeah, hopefully we can get some really cool photos of them. I had no idea what Krampus was before this meetup. Turns out it's basically the opposite to Santa. I've just been over to these 3 lovely ladies over there, asked if I could take their photo. They sat for me and posed for me, so took a couple of shots. So yeah, hopefully it turned out all right. So when it comes to street photography, one of the things I've been looking out for is things like this here, these shutters. This lovely contrasting oranges and sort of yellows. So if I can just stand over here in the road briefly, maybe get the door in as well, and wait for someone to come past. Got lovely blue shutters on the right hand side as well, so just going to wait for the person to come through. Just give it a second. What I don't want is too many people. I'd like to try and sort of isolate to maybe 1 person, maybe 2 at the most. Just stand back as there's a car coming. And just like that, there's nobody here. Might be someone coming the opposite way. Actually, there's a lady walking down with a red jacket on, so that could be quite a nice contrast. I'm going to put my camera up to the last minute, because what happens if you put the camera up, they stop and don't so you can't take the photo. So I'm going to wait a second. I've already pre-focused, so that's nothing to worry about. Right, camera up. And so I've got the shot, but I have got some additional people that I don't really want in there, but we have a go anyway. So just walking down this whole main arcade area, so there's probably a lot of noise, apologies, but got some lovely lights and stuff here. Looking for things like reflections are always handy, and just looking for interesting characters. Bonus points if I can get some eye contact. So here we've got another arcade. Again, lovely lights, potential for reflections. You've got the teddy bears and stuff here, so if we get the person to walk past, we should be able to get a photo. just to explain a little bit about what I'm using here. So I'm using my Sony a7R III with a 35mm f1.8. I'm at f8 and I've got pretty much everything set to auto, apart from the shutter speed and obviously the aperture. So obviously I'm just letting it do what it needs to do. And I've free focus as well, about 3 meters. So everything from 3 meters on should be pin sharp. Really interesting shot here. And actually the lady here with this light on looks really cool. So we can increase its ISO. Lovely colors, contrast, interesting characters. Perfect. So sometimes with street photography, and you have to be quite brave with this because I don't have any confidence at all. But if you see someone who looks really cool, you can just go up and ask them if they can take their photo. So that's what I'm going to try here. There's a lady sitting there, this really cool headdress thing on. So I'm going to just walk up to her and ask her if I'm going to take a photo. Wish me luck. Hey there, sorry. You look really cool. Could I grab a quick photo of you?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'd rather have a drink on.
Well, I absolutely loved that weekend in Whitby. We had a great time. It actually formed part of a Thumbs Up Photography social meetup. And what that is once or twice a year, we arrange a gathering of like-minded photographers. We all get together, share the photography, share a few beers, maybe some food, and definitely share a few laughs. It was great to meet those guys, and it turned out that some of them were only slightly less weird than the Krampus people. Who knew? I'm as surprised as everybody else. Later in the show, we actually go to one of our summer meetups over on Highland, where it was absolutely scorching hot. But anyway, if you're interested in one of these meetups, have a look at thumbsup.photography. You'll find all the details there. Also later in the show, we'll be pounding the streets of Whitby again with Martin as he continues on his little adventures in North Yorkshire. But before all that, while I stand in front of this magnificent glacier, let's see what Steve's been up to. I think he's got a guide to a windmill on the edge of the Cotswolds.
Well, good morning everybody. As you can see, today we're at a windmill, and it's Tysoe Windmill. So what I'll do, I'll give you a little bit of background on Tysoe, and then we'll go over some compositions we've been thinking of. Tysoe Windmill is sited on an hill overlooking the Warwickshire countryside and the little village of Upper Tysoe. The windmill was built in the early 17th century. It was at a time when life depended on the land. Grain grown from the fields surrounding the windmill were brought up and ground into flour. Built from local stone, the mill is 12-sided and designed to catch the strongest winds from this exposed hilltop. For nearly 200 years it played an important role in daily village life. In 1915 the mill was struck by lightning. Over time the sails were removed, but the structure was saved and restored so it wouldn't be lost in history. Today the mill no longer turns, but it stands proud on top of that hill, and to remind everybody of a slower, simpler way of life, shaped by weather, seasons and hard work. From up here you can see why the spot was chosen. Wide skies, open land and a sense of space. It's a place that invites you to slow down, to look and to just be present in the landscape. Sometimes photographing this place isn't about the image itself, it's about standing where others once stood, the feeling connected to the past.
Crikey, mate. I've just added that to my list. Nice.
The first thing I've done is I've actually tried a 30-second exposure and the clouds are not moving enough. So I'm going for a 2-minute exposure. The problem with that is it might just blend all the clouds in and just look grey. So I'm just trying to gauge what length of exposure I need to get a little bit of drag in the sky. So really, as suspected, that 2 minute is a little bit too long. So now what I'm going to do is take a minute exposure. The other thing I'm considering is the way the sails face and things like that with the composition. If they're pointing from right to left, I'll put the windmill on the right hand side and trying to get movement. Also I'm thinking about which way the clouds are actually moving to get that drag, that leading line towards it, which can help as well. So what I'm going to do is actually circle pretty much all around the windmill
and see which is the best spot. There's going to be compromise because probably the best spot is side onto the windmill. If we go around the back of the windmill, that's not so bad because there's a little door at the back, there's a bit of detail in the windmill itself, and we get the back of the windmill as well, so that's quite good. It works from both sides. From 90 degree to those doesn't work as well, but it still works, so because it's such a photogenic structure. So knowing your subject and knowing what time of the year to come and keep coming to the same area is so important in your landscape photography. I mean, I've only visited this really in the summer months, so this is an educational morning for me where the sun rises, position, is obstacles in the way, what's going to work the best, etc, etc. I mean, I've been here in the summer months where I've had epic sunsets, and the sun sets from behind us here. Now sunsets in the winter, another 90 degrees around. I've been here, done some night photography, and again, knowing where north is, etc, is there anything in the way, can really help in your landscape photography. So it's worth revisiting that location throughout the year, how exposed it is, and when it's going to work and when it's not, especially when it's pretty local to you as well. You can really nail that down to the time, the place, the day, the time of year, and get some absolutely fantastic images. Get the most out of the subject, basically. But yeah, I mean, this morning it's been a little bit flat. We've still had that little bit of texture. We've worked it as best as we can. It's not been brilliant, to be honest with you, but at least we've learned. Midwinter, sun rises, probably not where you want it. I would say springtime, as it moves around a bit, would be fantastic. So maybe a revisit in the spring for sunrise. Sunset's probably more in the summer months, the long days, and it would work here in the summer months. But it's all educational to get the best out of the subject. Knowing the location can be a massive advantage in your photography. So the more information you get, the better. So if you've never been there before, try and ask someone who has. Try and get some information. Use these Facebook groups. Talking of Facebook, Thumbs Up Photography, need to join it. Someone's normally been there. Ask them the best time of the year, what gear you need, what clothing you need, which is really important, and you'll probably get the best out of the day then. So I've had a lovely morning here at Tysoe Windmill in the Cotswolds in South Warwickshire, but let's see what one of the others are up to and see if they're getting some epic shots and see if they've learned a thing or two about their location.
Thank you, lovely. If I had to give this segment a name, I'd call it Joining Up the Dots. Let me explain why. Now, I consider myself very lucky to live on the edge of the South Downs National Park in the south of England. OK, I don't have easy access to a lot of the classic photography locations. Driving to see the impressive waterfalls of South Wales, well, that's half a day. And the rugged landscapes of North Wales, well, even longer. If I were to push the boat out and visit the jaw-dropping Highlands of Scotland or Hebrides, well, that's at least a day. But living here, I do have access to the varied terrain of the South Downs National Park with its rolling hills, its coastline and its heathland. Each type of terrain has got its own quirks to photograph, and there are times when every one of them shines. There are places where the skies allow you to appreciate the Milky Way, and other times when heather swathes the heartland in deep purples. But my favourite times feel like a secret. They're times when the side lighting paints the rolling hills and curves of the downs and truly brings them alive. But it's only after living here for 7 years that I'm starting to join the dots. Connections between different locations, standing on one hill, looking towards another, and then going and visiting and looking back. That's taken such a lot of scouting. And scouting is one of my least favourite things to do. So today, you're coming scouting with me. Did you just say it's concrete and not chalk? Crack on. No. Morning. Welcome to what is probably going to be a one-shot wonder. I'm here today with my photo buddy Ben and my husband, who will probably give a very helpful commentary right the way throughout this. I'm in the South Downs in East Sussex, and I've come to the Long Man of Wilmington. And, well, I always thought it was one of those chalky figures that just mysteriously kept itself going in the hills, but no, it's made of concrete, underpinned by concrete.
You know what I mean?
It's still pretty impressive to look at, to be fair. Now, it being winter, the sun's going to come up there somewhere in about 2 hours. It's going to crest that hill. Yeah, we might have got here a tad early and the wrong season, but let's see, this is really cold scouting. I'm sure this is a one-shot wonder. Best looked at from a distance. Rather like most of us, to be fair. Now, I should probably tell you some facts about this place, but it's too flipping cold for my poor brain to work properly at the moment, so I'm going to hand over to future me and hopefully some lovely dronage work.
The Long Man of Wilmington, or the Wilmington Giant, is 72 metres tall. Its origins are debated, but it's been documented since 1710. It's also been the subject of some controversy by various groups, including anti-frackers, and a giant phallus was painted on it overnight in 2010.
Well, here we are, the Long Man of Wilmington. It's quite long.
Uh-huh.
Definitely a man. And we're in Wilmington, so...
Come on, woman.
There you go. Now, let's see if we can photograph the blooming thing.
Well, it's going to come as no surprise that the answer is not really. There was, however, a little more hope from the air, thanks to Ben Harvey and his magic. But, lovely people, that's not why I was here. I was here to scout, to look around and put another dot on my mental map of the South Downs.
Going straight up a hillside is never fun. Of course, there was a path, I just didn't see it.
So, the moment of truth. Would my scouting reveal a hidden treasure or allow me to take something off my future map?
Well, I think I'm beginning to get my inner direction sorted, because I'm kind of looking from up here thinking, oh, I was over in that forest a couple of weeks ago, or, oh, if I go over to the next ridge, that's what I'll be able to see. It's not worth coming back up here. It's lovely to be here, but there's not anything of note, shall we say, other than being able to say, oh, the sun's out, there's a lovely view of the sea over the downs. And let's face it, it's lovely when you get one of those very special shots. But those ones that live with you, they're rare. We do this malarkey, really, because it gets us out, it gets us exploring. And even if it is a flipping cold morning on the South Downs, it's good to be here.
Well, this was technically a no-shot wonder on my part.
Shh.
But an important job was done nonetheless. Now let me show you how my dots are joining up, east to west. Thanks for coming along with me. You've made my scouting just that bit more bearable.
Well, you know what they say, location is everything. If you like the idea of a location guide, maybe consider subscribing to Photo Thumbs. That's our dedicated members area, and in there we have location guides to almost every place covered from the first 2 series of Thumbs Up the Photography Show. There'll be a link in the description. Right, back to the serious business of photography. And earlier in the year, I found myself up in Scotland, just a stone's throw away from Fort William, at an absolute classic location. And I got some great conditions too. But before that, a little birdie tells me that Dave also had some great conditions. I've heard he were in a misty woodland. So let's go see what he got up to.
Oh, good Lord. Every photographer dreams of conditions like this, if they're any good at woodland, which Garry and I aren't.
Yeah, thank you very much. And you know, if you watch the channel, that we love on Thumbs Up Photography a bit of mist, and I have been blessed with some fog and mist at Manesty Park in the Lake District. This is a location I've been to 4 times. Wanted to come back in autumn. I was with Martin earlier, but he's had to go back to work, unfortunately, and left me with all this fog. So what can you do in these conditions? Just photograph until you run out of battery, which is what I'm doing. So let me just talk to you about this shot I framed up for us. There's a lovely little beech tree here, which I'm quite surprised the leaves haven't turned colour at all. They're all green, but it looks lovely, and it's in amongst all of these straight Scots pines. There's the odd oak tree, but mostly it's Scots pines, and what we've got weaving in and out of it is mist. And mist makes everything separate, it separates everything out, makes everything ethereal, makes everything soft focus. And in woodland, it works fantastically. It looks really, really good. And I really love this. So what I'm gonna do is I'll photograph this, I'll talk you through it quickly, and then I'll hand you back to somebody else rather than taking forever. But my word, I'm gonna have some fun in here, I think.
I'll say. Oh, and listen to that bird song. Lovely.
Start recording through the camera and I'll show you exactly what it is I'm looking at and my compositional thoughts with it, really. So here is the scene, and I've got the magic finger. Here is the main subject, which is this little tree here, and I've put it on the bottom third, as you can see, and then the rest of it is all about depth. So these trees are all straight. There's nothing interesting, nothing really to take your eye away from the tree, apart from this makes a really lovely backdrop. And what I'm trying to show here, I guess, is that how vulnerable this tree is. It's surrounded by all of these other tall ones, and it's just kind of there. You could also argue it's sort of being protected, but it makes you sort of feel about the tree. So it's really important to just tell. Now actually on the actual picture we've got a little bit more into it. It's more, I'm just doing this subtly, more like that, I would say, is a look that I'm after, because I like the browns here of the bracken that's coming to this. It looks really, really lovely. Silver birch behind it, bits to notice if you had this on your wall, but with this mist everything just stands out. Separation is so easy. I'm just trying to spot single solo trees that look fantastic, and this is one of them. Okay, let's hand over to one of the other guys, and hopefully we'll see this picture at some point, maybe at the end of the video. So stay watching. So while we wait for that, it's not just woodland where mist and fog are really welcome. It works in other locations as well. Speaking of which, let's go over to Suggy, who is, for him, extremely early in the Highlands of Scotland, a very famous location. And he seems to have some as well.
Yeah, I'm in Scotland, the Western Highlands, just outside Fort William, and I've come to take a picture of the old boat wreck. It's a place I've been many times, but never at sunrise. Let's go have a look. So why here? Why come back to somewhere I've shot so many times? Well, for a start, I've never done sunrise, as I mentioned earlier. It looked like there was a chance of some colour. One awful feeling that's just been snubbed out. But we've got mist, which is something I've not had before. And the last time I was here, just to try and be different, because as I say, I've shot it so many times, I walked away from the wreck, away from being up close and personal with the hulk of the vessel, away from that little stream that a lot of people use in their foregrounds, and I walked way, way back. I got my long zoom out, and I zoomed right in, and I got some compression, and it brought the mountain, it brought Ben Nevis closer to the wreck. Obviously it's an optical illusion, just the nature of the lenses, that lens compression. And I just thought that were different. I got a few positive comments about it, but it was sort of done a bit half-hearted. It was just, in the moment I decided that's what we're going to do, and I didn't have the best light. So yeah, I thought I'd come back today try and reenact that shot, but with better conditions. I'm also going to step even further back, zoom in even further, compress it even more. Will it work? I don't know. At the moment, what I'm doing is I'm just zooming in on the details, and I'm not even getting the mountain in view because it's shrouded in mist and cloud. So unless that breaks up, it may just be the ship from afar, 200mm lens on. Yeah. So let's have a look at the camera. Let's see what we're getting. So as you can see, I've got the boat in its isolation there. I've got the mist in the background. And I don't know if you've noticed that there's mist, not just on the lock, but it's just hovering above that stream. So it's just giving this misty foreground. In fact, I'm just gonna fire off a shot there, I think. Yeah, it just gives that boat, that eerie look. I love it. It's a shame the mist on the lock hasn't sort of descended over the buildings in the background and just really isolated the boat. That's a shame. It does keep coming in, so if we're lucky, I'll get that shot. But what I have noticed now is the mountain is just starting to come into view. Not much colour in the sky. It's now risen, I think, and maybe we lost it. Maybe it was hidden when we're clagged in by all that cloud and fog. But the snow on the peak, so that's looking quite nice with the bands of mist on the side of the mountain. So I think, yeah, we're going to forego this tight in crop. We're going to zoom out, get the wider view. It's more in keeping with what I've got in the past, but when you're here and you've got a view like that, why wouldn't you?
My goodness. My perception is that conditions like this are quite rare. And if I went there, I wouldn't get this. But by God, it's lovely. Come on, Garry. Show us more.
So my plan was to get that punched in 200mm lens image from way back there, way behind you. I've taken shots up close like this with a little stream outlet here, even on the other side of there, really up close and personal with the boat many times before, as I've mentioned. So I wasn't going to bother with that. But as I've walked towards it on the way back to the car, I'm sorely tempted. I think it's time to get the tripod out. Let's get another image. So whenever I come down to this cascade, and you might feel the same way, when you get here, it can be quite disappointing. It's completely man-made. There's a load, you'll probably see it in the background, there's a load of chicken wire. It's an overspill from the canal, and I'm assuming they put that there to help with the erosion, just sort of help maintain it. They're basically just gambions, I think. It's just chicken wire holding boulders. But it kind of spoils it. So unless you've got a lot of water flow going over that disguises that, yeah, it does nothing for me, shall we say. And I love my waterfalls, but not man-made ones. If you get down to the bottom of the cascade, there's a little bit of white water as it leads off into the loch, and I'm making the most of that. It's leading towards the boat, so it looks absolutely fantastic. The boat's still got the mist swirling around it, so it's still got that lovely otherworld feeling. Really nice, really haunting, a haunting shipwreck. Fantastic. I'm probably going to shoot for high key with this. I'm thinking of processing it very high key, keep it all that mistiness, make the most of that mistiness and just have it all quite bleached and quite washed out in its colours and its tones. So I'm going to shoot for that, overexpose a few shots, but I'll probably just do a traditional exposure as well, nice and balanced. Better to be safe than sorry, but I'll be able to make that decision when I get back to the computer and I look at it in post. Right, better get this shot. And as always, you know the drill. If it's anything above mediocre, here it comes now. Right, that's me done at this location. I'm a little bit cold. I need to head over to the car, get a coffee in me, so just cross the canal and straight down to the car park. And I'm going to hand you over to Steve. Let's see what he's been up to this week.
Throughout the year, Thumbs Up arrange meetups. so group members can get together and share tips and advice and generally enjoy our combined love of photography. The summer meet is always difficult, and this year was no exception, with blue skies as far as the eye can see and temperatures of over 30 degrees on the thermometer. Sometimes you just have to admit defeat and retreat to the pub for a cold drink and some great company. But before we did that, we enjoyed the stunning scenery of this classic location, Llanwyn Island, North Wales, and all of the members of Thumbs Up community braved those high temperatures. We salute you, and you can rest assured we will be back.
If you're looking for some great image editing software, try DxO Photolab 9. Link in the description below and use the code ThumbsUp15 for 15% off.
Did I mention it was hot? Very, very hot.
Water, water, water.
So, we're so fortunate as landscape photographers to get in some epic locations.
Oh yeah.
And today, we're in Iceland, baby! Iceland, baby!
Yeah.
Let's do it!
Yeah, let's
so
go.
we go.
Let's go.
Let's do it!
Let's go.
New Lynn's Lube Extreme.
If there's one thing I hate about landscape photography, it's being out in all this wind and rain. There must be something you can do about it. I've had an idea. Right, the idea's fully formed. I've written it down on the back of a beer mat. What could possibly go wrong? Cue the music. Let's do this business. Introducing the all-new Thumbs Up Photography Drypod. That's right, Drypod. You heard it here first. But what is a Drypod? I'm here to tell you. It's an all-in-one solution for keeping you and your gear dry. Have you ever had a wet camera? Have you ever suffered the indignity of a soggy Sony? Well, not anymore. Not with Drypod. Simply insert it into your hot shoe and it encases you in a 4 feet wide, that's right, 4 feet wide cone of total dryness. That's your camera, you, your gear, your backpack, all bone dry. It's waterproof, it's windproof. All the major YouTubers are wanting them. Gavin Heaton, Thomas Hardcastle, they've signed up. They're going to be promoting it all over their channels. It's the future. Let me show you it in action. It's going to blow you away. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, how can that tiny little hot shoe mount on the top of my camera cope with something that's 4 feet wide? Well, I tell you, it'll cope with it no problem. Why? Because we've been working with top scientists on the island of Tonga to come up with a new and unique way of mounting tripod to camera. Now we thought about using carbon fibre and we thought about using aluminium, but no, we've come up with an absolutely brand new and unique product. It's called carbon reinforced augmented plastic. Remember that name, it's the first time you've heard it, but you're going to be hearing it a lot. Carbon reinforced augmented plastic. We've had people on the phone try to get hold of this technology. We've had NASA on the phone, but no, it's unique to Thumbs Up and we're keeping it that way. Whatever you do, don't accept any small, cheap alternative products. So let me show you just how easy it is to use. It's foolproof, anyone can use it. On this wet and windy day, perfect conditions. Simply insert it into your hot shoe and you are ready to go. It's amazing, I'm telling you. And how much would you pay for this amazing product? How about £1? That's right, just £1. It's absolutely fantastic. Everybody,
What an utter wank puffin.
I know what you're thinking. Will any of my products, fantastic as they are, will they ever pass those strict quality control checks? Only time will tell. Anyway, earlier in the show, we were with Martin walking around the streets of Whitby trying to get that perfect street photography shot. Let's go see what he managed to capture.
So I mentioned earlier, I absolutely love trying to use reflections in street photography. And if you start with street photography, actually I think it's a great way to do it because you don't feel as intrusive on people. You can get in the reflection here and they don't necessarily know you're photographing them. So I've got this Dracula experience here and there's this Dracula sort of statue in the window. I'm placing him on pretty much the right-hand third. I'm just waiting for the right person to come past who's going to fill in the sort of left-hand side of the frame. So as they come past, I'll try and take the shot. Give it a second, wait for the right person to come through. And sometimes this is what you have to do in street photography, just be a little bit patient and wait for the right subject to walk into frame. Umbrellas are always great. Right, so I do really like, there's like a sort of a spiritual clairvoyant kind of thing here, and there's like a sort of neon open light in the window. So I'm going to see if I can try and get some reflection with that. Let's go and have a look. So as I say, I've already focused, but basically this neon light here with this sort of mannequin head kind of thing, it's really, really cool. Going in portrait because it gets all that window in. And I'm just waiting for someone to come past so we can get a nice reflection in the window. Just give it a minute or two. Right, so the reflection wasn't quite working. However, what I didn't notice was the lady who actually works in the clairvoyant shop, she popped her head out. So I managed just to get a shot just as she popped her head round, which actually looks really, really cool. So really happy with that. So I mentioned it's the Krampus weekend here in Whitby, and we took a walk down sort of one of the main roads there earlier for the main sort of Krampus run that they have. Absolutely amazing, but absolutely rammed. So many people, loads of hustle and bustle. But we did manage to catch some images. It wasn't just myself, I was with Garry and with Colin as well. And yeah, we've got some pretty good images. So we'll put some of those on screen for you now. So the light is fading quite quickly. What we're going to do now is going to head up to the Whalebones here in Whitby, and I believe there's going to be some kind of sort of fire dancing kind of stuff with the Krampus. So let's see if we can go and get some images up there. So hopefully you can all hear me okay. We've actually come up to the top here by the Whalebones at Whitby, and as you can, I really do hope you can hear me okay. Basically, you've got the Krampie here, Krampusses. What is a plural for Krampus? I don't know. But Yeah, they're having a bit of a dance around here. Basically what they've done, as far as I can make out, they've woken up the Whitby worm, which I think is this big red thing over here. Not sure if you can see it. But yeah, myself, Suggy, Colin, we've been taking some shots. Whether they work out any good, I don't really know. So the noise is carrying on way into dusk. So I think it's about time we wrapped up this segment. I'm with Colin, I'm with Garry, and yeah, I think we've both got some incredible shots. What turned out, you know, I came out for street photography, it turned out to be far more than that, actually became event photography as well. But I thoroughly enjoyed it and absolutely love Whitby. So I'll put some photos on screen for you for myself, Colin and Garry. Thanks for watching this segment.
Well, sadly, that's all we've got time for this week. I really hope you enjoyed the episode, and if you did, why not think about liking and subscribing? Also, why not give that bell icon a little bit of a tickle? That way you'll get notified the next time we put a video out. And don't forget our website, thumbsup.photography. There you'll find everything you need to know about us, our social presence, our competitions, it's all there for you to find out. Next week it's the season finale, so from me in this windy, freezing cold Iceland, we're going to jump to Norway, up above the Arctic Circle. But before that, here's Louise with a recap of this week's images and a look of what to expect next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Next time. Well, next time it's an Arctic adventure as the show heads to the Lofoten Islands. My goodness, stunning compositions and epic light await us. Yeah, baby. Yeah. But I suppose some things never change. Oh dear.
What an absolute shambles.
Indeed.
Off to bed. See you soon. Sleep well, chaps. Night.